Shot.
Yeah, boy.
Hey guys, what's going on? Today, we're talking about bombs. And yeah, this one's gonna be something, that's for sure. I officially have access to a full Alchemist Shop where I can buy bombs and bomb kits. I tried every bomb available, and while they are super cool, they're also practically worthless. So you can use them, and yes, they do good damage, but they're extremely unreliable and a massive waste of resources. So let's get into this mess and discuss what bombs do as well as why they suck. Bombs are mostly exclusive to Caldera, as you can access them from the Alchemist Shop in New Sirocco. Build the shop and the merchant will sell them, as well as these things called bomb kits. Those will come into play later. What a lot of people don't realize is that you can craft two bomb types before building this shop. These are the Fragment Bomb and Oil Bomb. Fragment Bombs deal 100 physical damage and inflict bleeding. You will need 1 sulfuric mushroom and 2 iron scraps to craft it. One of these can be looted from Vendival Fortress if you break into the armory, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately, this is probably the worst bomb. It has a very small range of explosion and even looks pitiful, which is not something you'll want. It's mostly useful to bleed your enemy, as it builds up at a rate of 100%. With your physical damage maxed out, you might find some good damage from these, but otherwise, tripwire traps with iron spikes are much better. Oil bombs can be crafted with 2 thick oil and 1 sulfuric mushroom. These are my favorite bomb by far. They deal fire damage and some impact, but the best feature here is the infliction of Scorched. This is the fire hex, and once you hit an enemy with this bomb, you can activate the Torment skill to burn the enemy. This allows every build to have fire damage potential as long as you have at least 1 mana point. And it's definitely on the easier side to craft, as thick oil is everywhere. Both of these bombs are on the weaker side, but can be crafted anytime, making them better, in my opinion. Unfortunately, sulfuric mushrooms are not the most common mushroom. Definitive Edition spread them out across the regions, but it might still be challenging to find more than 2 or 3 in different locations. Caldera has a lot of these near the sulfuric caverns, and the burnt outpost in Enriker Forest has 3 which can easily be looted. Oil bombs and fragment bombs are not overly complex to craft and can be used to benefit your combat if you get used to using them. Although you would need to have an alchemy kit to actually craft them, but those are easy to get. Now we get into the more advanced bombs. Like I said earlier, these can only be crafted after building the Alchemist Shop in New Sirocco. You can buy each type here, but they aren't cheap in bulk. In order to craft them, you will need a bomb kit. One is used in every individual bomb you craft, and the only place to buy bomb kits, of course, is in New Sirocco. Don't expect to craft a ton of them either, because bomb kits alone cost 8 silver. A small amount that adds up to a lot of silver if you're getting multiple bombs ready. So we've established that bomb kits are awful because you can only buy them in New Sirocco, and they're expensive. This limits any bomb crafting you could do in other regions, forcing you to craft many of them and store for later. Honestly, just save up money and buy the bombs instead of crafting them. I will go over their recipes, but it's mostly a waste of time and provides no fun to the gameplay. Buy around 30 or 40 bombs by resetting the shops, and then store them in your chests if you ever want to use them later. As far as what kinds of bombs there are, we have Blazing Bomb, Flaming Bomb, Frost Bomb, Nerve Bomb, Spark Bomb, and Toxin Bomb. The Blazing Bomb can be crafted with a bomb kit, Obsidian Shard, and Oil Bomb. Yes, it uses another bomb to craft it. This one inflicts Scorched and then Blaze on foes who are burning. It explodes with 150 fire damage, which I have to admit is a lot. The damage of this guy is significant, but you will need to first burn the enemy to get Blaze afflicted, or else 2 bombs will have to be thrown. Flaming bombs immediately burn the enemy and deal 100 fire damage. Craft them with a bomb kit, Borrow Blubber, and charge Incendiary. This is your worst version of the Blazing Bomb and would be useful for first inflicting burn to then throw a blaze one, except that wastes 2 skill slots. So make the blazing ones instead and find a better source of burning. Frost bombs inflict slowdown and deal 100 frost damage. Craft them with a bomb kit, chalcedony, and sulfuric mushroom. These are pretty cool because they deal a lot of ice damage, and inflicting slowdown is actually useful. Great for fire enemies, and they have one of the more extravagant explosions of bombs. Nerve bombs inflict confusion and explode, dealing 90 ethereal damage. Craft them with a bomb kit, Ambrain, and charged nerf gas. These are by far the dumbest bombs in the game for so many reasons. First off, they do less damage than other bombs with 90 damage instead of 100. This is supposedly because ethereal is such a powerful element, I guess. Then they deal confusion, which is so unbelievably easy to inflict, making them ridiculous. I would prefer they inflict Aether Bomb, giving us a consistent way to immediately inflict that. The only good aspect of this bomb type is the impact. 200 impact makes it knock down most enemies and give you a chance to gain the advantage. But it really is such a missed opportunity to give us Aether Bomb. Spark Bombs simply deal to 120 lightning damage. Craft these with Bomb Kit, Cali Gray Hairs, and Sulfuric Mushrooms. These are pretty interesting, as they were given more damage than some of the others. Throwing one of these deals a lot of lightning damage, and usually takes out a massive chunk of enemy health. They don't inflict anything, but with that much damage, we really don't need them to. Lastly, we have Toxin Bombs. They deal 90 decay damage and inflict plague. Craft them with a Bomb Kit, Miasma Pod, and Charged Toxic. These deal almost no impact, which makes them very un-bomb-like. Seriously, hitting an enemy with one makes you question if that was even an explosion. However, they do inflict plague, and this deals 4 decay damage per second. Providing us with a very ranged and instant way to inflict plague is very nice, and I feel like these are great against groups of enemies. So those are all the bombs available from the Alchemist Shop. Each is very customized with a specific purpose, making them unique and strong in various situations. Spark and Frost Bombs in particular seem very fun to use. So with some pretty interesting abilities associated with these bombs, how come no one uses them? Good question. Luckily, I have a few answers for that. The most obvious problem with these is that they're locked inside the region of Caldera. Definitive Edition spread out materials and enemies pretty well, but bombs were mostly unaffected by this. You can loot them from a few unique enemies, but they aren't dropped enough to consistently use. Plus, we have the bomb kit I mentioned that just doesn't work in this game. One merchant sells a craftable item, and so you must be in this town to create bombs. Or simply buy out his entire stock multiple times. But even if you spread out the bomb kits, these almost all require items exclusive to Caldera. Boro Blubber for flaming bombs, Chalcedony for frost bombs, Ambrain for nerve bombs, and Cali Gray Hairs for spark bombs. Using bombs on a regular basis would require you to farm out resources in Caldera much longer than anyone wants to even be in this region. The entire crafting system behind bombs incentivizes players to buy them instead of crafting them, or go into combat with only 2 or 3 at a time. I truly do not understand the way they design them, as they're so unfun to obtain, to put it plainly, that very few people will ever use or even see them. Now we get down to the one true reason bombs are the worst item in Outward. They're not user-friendly. We must waste a skill slot in order to throw one bomb type. As many of you know, these skill slots are very limited compared to the massive options we have of things to put there. Taking one more slot away from the player makes sense, yes, but immediately forces people to think about not using them. And that really is a silly argument, because all items take up a skill slot if you want to use them on the run. So what truly makes them a waste of space? They're horrible to use. Throwing a bomb should be exciting and get you ready for a massive explosion. These instead land on the ground and wait multiple seconds before igniting. 80% of the time, your enemy will move out of range and completely avoid any damage from the bombs. So remember how costly those bombs are and how you can only get a few of them at a time? Well, you might waste 3 or 4 of them before doing any damage to one enemy. Movement is one of the most important things when engaging in combat. Dodging, attacking, blocking, countering, it all requires movement from either you or the enemy. Bombs require both you and the enemy to stop moving, which will rarely happen. Imagine if someone threw a firecracker at your feet, but nothing would even happen for at least 4 seconds after it lands. All you have to do is take 3 steps to your left, and it's almost like nothing ever happened. Yes, hitting an enemy with a bomb deals massive damage to them, and even feels great, but you almost never hit them with the explosion, and end up wasting so many resources in the process. I think I've expressed to the fullest that bombs are not user-friendly, and were essentially designed to deter people from using them. But there is a tiny ray of hope in this dark and stormy night. Shields. The only effective way to use bombs is to play with a shield. You can block damage and wait for an opening. Briefly unshield to press your bomb skill slot, and then reblock. The bomb won't throw while you're blocking, but once you have begun the process, you can immediately reblock and continue throwing the grenade. This is the most optimized way to play with bombs, because it reduces both yours and your enemy's movement, like we talked about before. With both of you standing moderately still, the grenade has a much higher chance of hitting its target. Unfortunately, this isn't perfect, as the enemy can still sidestep too far from the bomb, but it is an option. Also, bombs that inflict blaze or plague can be transferred to you if you stay in close, which obviously isn't ideal. So bombs aren't great, but using a shield can make them passable as a weapon in Outward. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, how to use them, what they do, and why you never see them in anyone's videos. This was a really cool idea that was not implemented in a good way. I wish it had been, but every game has some mistakes here and there, and this is one of Outward's for sure. Anyone could also make the argument that they aren't a mistake. They were designed this way because of how strong they are. Doesn't really matter though, because the mechanics behind them truly suck all the fun out of using them. Once again, they just feel like something thrown in as padding to make the town building more unique with many different options. I don't recommend you take the Alchemist Shop unless you're going for the special arrows. They aren't perfect either, but the bombs are barely usable. Just craft oil bombs if you're looking for something interesting to add to the combat. They're easy to craft and hurt your soul a little bit less when you miss. Hopefully, you were able to take something away from this video, and if you didn't know anything about bombs, this is about as honest of a review as I can make on them. They're very powerful, but also difficult to enjoy using. Consider leaving a like on this video, and I will catch you next time.